Welcome to Ntiva's webinar for January 2025. I'll be your host again, Ted Brown, Director of Product Management here at Ntiva. And today we're going to be talking about Microsoft 2024 year in review for looking all the new innovations that occurred outside of Microsoft Copilot last year. I have to say the year 2024 was yet another amazing era of innovation and efficiency with Microsoft 365 with a remarkable array of features designed to elevate productivity, foster seamless collaboration, enhance security across the diverse business landscapes. In the comprehensive review, we'll delve into these groundbreaking updates and explore the transformational potential through real-world business applications. Get ready to unlock your future work with Microsoft 365 with all the 2024 advancements. As mentioned, we're going to go ahead and get into a little bit what the advancements occurred. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about some of the 2024 announcements that occurred that are important for your Microsoft 365 licensing. After that, we're going to go ahead and get into some of the collaboration, some of the productivity, and the security features that occurred in 2024. So let's get started. So some of the licensing changes last year that I think are important to look back on is the first one of going through to see what occurred on August 1st, 2024. Now, Microsoft put an announcement out there that they're going to align more with what is occurring over in Europe. So the ability to purchase Microsoft Teams licensing that is separate from Microsoft 365 licensing. So when you have a chance to buy a license SKU in the enterprise, you can actually buy an enterprise license that does not include Teams. And you have the capability of adding a Teams add-on, which sounds great. However, there's a slight catch. Now, with this catch, it means that you actually cannot purchase Microsoft Teams with an enterprise licensing if you don't have the enterprise SKU license today. So you actually have to purchase a Microsoft Office 365 E1 or E3 with no Teams and add it in there. And there's some additional costs that need to happen with that. And some of those additional costs you'll see here listed is there's going to be an E1 license cost that is going to be more of a $775. You can see the cost up here for the E3 license, the E5 license, as well as the Microsoft Suite. And then the Microsoft license itself is the Teams license is an additional $5.75 or 25 cents. Now, what this does is it actually, when you combine these two license types, it does in a price increase of about $3 per user if you want to use a Microsoft Teams license with a Microsoft Enterprise SKU. It's about a $3 price increase for each one of those licenses. Now, what this does do, though, is it will not impact people that already have these license types today. So make sure you're kind of aware of how this works. So if you are currently a business that has a Microsoft E1 or an E3 license, and you have people utilizing that today that includes Teams, you're grandfathered into this program. So you don't have to worry about adding another Teams license for that specific user to use Teams. So if you want to add a new user, you just add E3 and you're fine. However, if you're utilizing a Microsoft Business Premium or maybe a Microsoft Business Standard and you want to move to a enterprise license like a Microsoft 365 E3 or something along those lines, you will be purchasing a Microsoft 365 E3 with no Teams and add Teams onto it. So it does have that $3 price increase for you. The slight also catch here is if you're purchasing a Microsoft 365 E3 license on an annual term and you want to add in a monthly term, that new monthly term is really a new license. So you would be buying an E3 license that does not include Teams, and you have to include a license for Teams for that user. So it gets a little bit complicated in that. So if you have an enterprise license today, and you're fine with the annual term agreement or you're on a monthly term agreement, you're all set, your grandfathered in. But when you add in an enterprise license, it will come in with a no Teams version and you have to add Teams in there. So it's a new announcement that occurred. Now, if you want to stick with the non-enterprise licensing, such as a business basic, a business standard, a business premium, those are not impacted today. I have not heard if they're going to be impacted sometime this year, but right now, if you have those non-enterprise licenses, you're not impacted by this update that occurred last year. And lastly, if you're on a nonprofit or education or government clients, this does not impact you today as well. However, typically what I see is they always launch it into the commercial space, then move into the nonprofit education as well as the government space. So this is probably something that will be coming very shortly. Now, another big licensing change that occurred or was announced in the November time period that will go into effect for April 2025, I think is even a bigger announcement. So right now with Microsoft NCE license, you have the ability to purchase an annual license commitment paid monthly, which means if you sign up for a 10-user license of Business Standard and you sign up for an annual license paid monthly, that's going to be about $12.50 per license. Now, I have the capability of paying that per month, but I'm locked into those 10 licenses for the full year, and that cuts down to $12.50. Now, starting April 1st, any license that renews after the April 1st time period will get a 5% increase for annual paid monthly SKUs. Now, you do have the monthly SKU options, which did carry a 20% increase from the annual license types paid monthly. That is still the case. You're still paying the 20%, but now you have an additional 5% increase for the annual paid monthly. So you can kind of see this little chart right here that kind of goes through what some of the price increases will be. On the left side, it shows what it is today for the now. You have the capability of paying all up front, which incurs no extra cost, and you have the option of paying an annual paid monthly, which doesn't incur any extra cost. Then you have the option of paying a monthly commitment, which does have that 20% cost increase. That's today. After April 1st, you have the capability of purchasing an annual paid all upfront, which has no additional increase, a annual paid monthly, which gets the 5% increase, and the monthly subscription commitment, which does have that full 20%. So it will have an additional increase in all your license types if you want to pay on a monthly type commitment basis. But this is what's going to be occurring for any license that renews after April 1st. So I do feel it's going to impact a lot of people out there. So I'd recommend, if you don't know when your license expires, reach out to your account manager. If you're not an Ntiva client, you can take a look within your Microsoft portal, see when those expire, and expect to see a 5% increase once those do renew. So now that we've got through some of those announcements, let's get into some of the exciting things that occurred in 2024. And I think one of the most notable updates, especially happens in the Teams in 2024, in the introduction to immersive meeting experience in Microsoft Teams. This feature leverages augmented reality and virtual reality. Participants can now interact with 3D models and virtual objects, allowing them to navigate through immersive spaces. This makes remote collaboration more effective and visually engaging as technology around us advances into 3D headsets. Also with Microsoft Teams, it has introduced several new enhancements to video conferencing, including higher video quality, support for 4K resolution and higher frame rates to ensure clearer and smoother video feeds, background noise suppression, improve AI algorithms to reduce background noise, making conversations clearer, and even noise cancellation within the environment. No longer you have to say, "I'm sorry for my dog," or "I hear somebody's knocking the door, I apologize." More than likely, no one heard it on the other side because of the background noise suppressions built into Teams today. And also, there's a dynamic layout. Participants can now customize their video layout, choosing between grid, spotlight, and speaker views to suit their preferences. Now, one thing I've been using quite a lot in Teams right now is the real-time translations. This feature provides an instant translations of spoken words during meetings and presents them as subtitles, enhancing communications and understanding amongst your participants. For me, I always like it when I'm kind of reading through the subtitles. If someone says something, I can quickly look back at the transcription being written there in the subtitles to see if I didn't understand correctly, or maybe I'm taking notes somewhere else. I can copy it quickly over there. But also, more importantly, this allows for multiple languages, allowing participants from different linguistic backgrounds to communicate more seamlessly within Teams itself. And Microsoft Teams had some, I would say, security and compliance that has been bolstered throughout 2024. They have the end-to-end encryption, which will ensure your Teams meetings meet data privacy and security. Microsoft Teams now includes an advanced threat detection capability that utilizes machine learning and AI to identify and mitigate potential security risks in real time. This includes identifying suspicious activity patterns, unauthorized access attempts, and potential malware threats. The system alerts administrators immediately, allowing for quick action to neutralize threats and protect sensitive data. Lastly, automated compliance recording features ensures that meetings are recorded and stored according to industry regulations and happens automatically if necessary. Microsoft Teams also right now seamlessly integrates into Microsoft Loop. And I did a Microsoft Loop webinar, I believe, sometime in the September-August time period. I definitely recommend checking out. It's a wonderful program that was released in 2023 and is being immersed more into the Microsoft 365 infrastructure. And if you haven't used it yet, check the webinar, kind of get you started. But I'm starting to find myself using Loop on a day-to-day basis now of all the integrations they put in there. And one being within Teams itself. Now, this enables users to co-create and edit content in real time during meetings, almost like the whiteboard experience, but now with Loop. This integration allows for more dynamic brainstorming sessions and collaboration of documents during a Teams meeting. If you utilize breakout rooms, this is kind of similar to almost making a little bit of compatibility or comparable to how people use Zoom meetings as well. I feel like the breakout rooms prior to this update weren't quite on par, but I do think this brings it right up to Zoom meetings right now. The new updates they have with room meetings are room timers, which enables organizers the ability to set timers for breakout sessions, ensuring that discussions remain on track. You also have the capability of doing room announcements that allow for messages to be broadcasted across all the rooms simultaneously and facilitating better coordination. You can also have different layouts that can be applied to breakout rooms to cater to specific needs of the meeting itself. Again, you have to kind of pre-populate this ahead of time, so plan what the breakout meetings are going to be used, but then you can go forward into that. And I did a webinar on Teams and the enhanced capabilities they had sometime in the July period. So take a look back at some of my old webinars. I went into how to use breakout rooms within Teams itself. I find very helpful. You also have now the ability to create and save meeting templates with predefined settings such as meeting duration, participant permissions, and agenda items. This seamless ability to create templates allows for the meeting setup process to be smooth and consistent across all your recurring meetings. You also have the capability I would recommend take a look at automatically setting your meetings to record. There's nothing more annoying than being in a meeting that happens all the time and realizing you didn't set the record feature to happen and you miss about half the meeting. You can predefine how you want that set up and make sure that's recorded every time going forward. Recommend checking that little tip out. In another area, I mentioned kind of Loop being able to do a lot of collaboration. There is some enhancement they have. You like the whiteboard feature. The whiteboard feature does have an expanded tool set now, some new drawings and annotation tools, which allow for more creative and detailed whiteboard sessions. You can also do changes in there that are made into the whiteboard that allow for synchronized real time and ensuring that all participants see all the latest updates immediately. You can use a pre-built template that can be used to kickstart brainstorming sessions, as well as project planning. And for me right now, it's kind of the whiteboard space is going to be used more than Loop as people use Loop. So I'm curious to see what happens in 2025 as Loop becomes a more of a replacement of the whiteboard, or the whiteboard comes into the Loop itself. So I'm curious to see how all that's going to play out. Now, with the adoption of Teams into a VDI type environment or an AVD, there is some improvements made over the last year. Now, these new VDI sessions ensure a seamless user experience across all virtual desktop environments. Users can now access Teams with the same fluidity and responsiveness as they would on a physical desktop, eliminating performance bottlenecks that they had before. This is because the performance of Teams in VDI has been optimized for lower latency and higher reliability. This includes better resource allocation and management, ensuring a smooth video calls, file sharing, collaborative work during peak usage times. The integration with Azure Virtual Desktop and 365 as well as Citrix VDI have been vastly improved. So if you utilize a hosted desktop such as AVD or maybe something with the Citrix VDI, make sure you utilize the latest Teams download because it will have the most improved performance you have out there for Teams itself. Now, for some other collaboration outside of Teams, I would go into the next piece here is Microsoft Excel. There is some real-time co-authoring that has been extended into Microsoft Excel, allowing for multiple users to edit and update spreadsheets simultaneously with immediate visibility of changes. Well, you might say, hey, Ted, this was there before 2024. Yes, it was, but the Excel's co-authoring capabilities allow for multiple users to work on spreadsheets simultaneously, but the experience did have some limitations. Users often faced latency issues where changes were made by one users and were not immediately visible to others. This sometimes led to version control problems as well as difficulties to track who made changes when. So it was an important improvement in 2024 for that. Also in 2024, Microsoft included some significant enhancements outside of those improvements. You have the instant updates, what I mentioned. You also have the ability to have new tools that have been added to track contributions more effectively, including a detailed version history and real-time presence indicator who shows who's currently added in the document as well as where. There's some improved performance. The overall performance of co-authoring sessions has been optimized, reducing the risk of crashes or slowdowns even in complex and large spreadsheets. And I don't know if you're like me, I use some really large spreadsheets and we're working in a bunch of spreadsheets together and kind of collaborating together. It's nothing worse than making some changes, having it crash, and you don't actually have those documents or the files up to date as when it crashed itself. So some really big improvements is there, as well as you have the capability of having some advanced permissions within Excel. Users can now set more granular permissions, controlling who can view, edit, or comment on specific parts of a spreadsheet. Um, Loop was also Loop components, which made some other enhancements in 2025, which provide a more flexible snippets that can be used across Microsoft 365 applications. Have seen some enhancements in 2024. These components can now seamlessly embed into emails, meetings, and documents. This integration allows for users to create, edit, and share pieces and content in real time without leaving the current applications. For instance, a project update created in Loop components in Microsoft Teams can be directly inserted into Outlook email or a Word document, ensuring consistency and saving time. Additionally, these components are live and dynamic, meaning they're updated to made so the components are instantly reflected wherever the component is used. This feature is particularly beneficial for cross-functional teams that rely heavily on collaboration and frequent updates. By utilizing Loop components, teams can maintain a single source of truth for data and communication, reducing the risk of discrepancies and outdated information. Again, highlighting the Loop webinar I did back in, I think, again, the September-August timeframe, gets you started with utilizing Loop. It's great to use across your teams. Please give it a try. Now let's go ahead and get into some enhancement for Microsoft Planner. Microsoft Planner now has some AI-powered insights that deliver actionable recommendations based on project data. These insights are designed to enhance task productivity, work balance, as well as deadline predictors, ultimately improving the project management efficiency. By analyzing various aspects of the project, such as dependencies and team performance, the AI features provide project managers with valuable information to make informed decisions. This integration of AI not only helps identify potential bottlenecks, but also offers solutions to mitigate risk, ensuring a smoother workflow and timely completion of projects. Now, I'm not sure if people utilize OneNote. I'm a big OneNote user as well. Again, does OneNote live more than Loop? I can see a Loop coming in there in the OneNote form, kind of taken over OneNote a little bit, but I use OneNote all over the place. I like to use it when I go to webinars or go to seminars and taking my notes on OneNote. And the functionality that they actually put in here in 2024 is the ability to have advanced searches utilizing natural language processing for better results, which enables you to actually search handwritten notes if you take notes on a tablet, as well as audio recording. So it's something that I like to go back and take a look for what happened when. I can now search through audio recordings as well as some of my handwritten notes. I find that very handy. Now, again, I did a webinar, I believe, sometime last year about Power Automate, and there's some enhancements within the Power Automate in 2024. Power Automate has been upgraded with a host of new connectors and templates designed to streamline the automation of repetitive tasks across Microsoft 365 applications. These new additions allow for users to create a more complex workflows with ease, harnessing advanced triggers and actions that can accommodate intricate business processes. Whether it's from automating email responses, updating database, or generating reports, the enhanced capabilities of Power Automate ensures that these tasks are completed efficiently and accurately. The integration with other 365 apps also ensures that the data flows seamlessly between different platforms, reducing the likelihood of errors and improving the overall productivity. And Microsoft 365 also saw some significant enhancement in the security framework with releases of advanced threat features in 2024. These enhancements include sophisticated phishing detection systems that utilize machine learning algorithms to identify and neutralize phishing attempts before they reach the end users. The updates and malware prevention tools now offer real-time scanning and automatic isolations of suspected files, reducing the risk of malware infections. Additionally, automation incident response capabilities have been improved to ensure quicker resolutions of security incidents, minimizing the potential damages and downtime. Now, there's also some enhancements with the Compliance Manager within Microsoft 365. The Compliance Manager is a tool that has been enhanced with new templates and automation for capabilities to help businesses meet compliance regulatory and more efficiently. These powerful tools now support a wide range of regulations, now including GDPR, HIPAA, and CCPA, the California Consumer Privacy Act. With these enhancements, the organizations can now automate compliance assessments, generate audit-ready reports, and track compliance progress in real time. The Compliance Manager provides a detailed insights and recommendations to mitigate compliance risks, ensuring that businesses stay ahead of regulatory change and maintain a robust data protection practices. Now, please be aware that the organizations that need to use these specific license types require you to be utilizing Microsoft 365 E5, Office 365 E5, or you do also have an add-on Microsoft 365 E5 compliance to utilize the Compliance Manager. And there was also some enhancements in the Microsoft multi-factor authentication they have built into the system. The MFA application has been updated to include more options for secure authentication, such as biometric verification and hardware tokens. The biometric verification leverages technology like fingerprint scanning, facial recognition, and iris scanning to ensure that the only authorized individuals can access sensitive information. Hardware tokens, on the other hand, provide an additional layer of security by generating a unique code that must be entered alongside a password. These enhancements make it significantly harder for unauthorized users to gain access, thus protecting valuable business data and reducing the likelihood of security breaches. And just another update for that one, if you want to utilize these extra biometric features, they are in Microsoft 365 E5, Office 365 E5, as well as the Microsoft 365 E5 compliance license. And that brings us to the conclusion of all the enhancements that happened in 2024. Now, these new releases that occurred, I would feel significantly enhanced the platform's capabilities, making it an indispensable tool for businesses looking to improve collaboration, productivity, and security. By leveraging these innovations, companies can streamline their operations, foster more collaborative work environment, and protect their crucial data. As we look forward to the future, it's clear that Microsoft 365 will continue to drive the force forward with the digital transformation into the business world. Thanks again for joining our webinar for the look back at 2024, and I look forward to all the wonderful webinars we have coming out in 2025. Hope you have a great rest of your month, and talk to you next month. Thank you so much.